Echoes of the Riverlands, a tale of love, war and resilience in the Riverlands. Elara stood at the edge of Willowbrook, her gaze fixed on the sun dipping below the rolling hills that cradled her village. The golden hues bathed the fields where she had spent countless hours gathering herbs with her mother Lisa, the village healer. The air was rich with the scent of lavender and sage, plants that held both medicinal properties and memories of simpler times. Willowbrook was a modest settlement nestled along a tributary of the Red Fork, its inhabitants bound by blood and shared history. Life here was predictable, almost monotonous, but Elara found comfort in the familiar rhythms of her days. She yearned to travel beyond the confines of the Riverlands, to see the grand castles and bustling cities her mother spoke of. Yet, she also felt a deep-rooted connection to her home. "Elara!" Her mother's voice carried over the whispering grasses. "We need more comfrey for the poultices." As she walked, Elara pondered the tales that had recently reached their secluded village. Whispers of kings and battles, of direwolves and dragons. The War of the Five Kings, they called it. The tranquility was shattered by the distant sound of hoofbeats. She stood up, her heart quickening, and saw a column of armored men approaching along the dirt road. They bore the sigil of a lion, the emblem of House Lannister. Villagers stood anxiously by their doorways as the troops began dismounting. A man with a stern face and a commanding presence rode forward. "By order of Lord Tywin Lannister, we require provisions and lodging," he announced. That evening, the village square was transformed into a makeshift camp. Elara watched from a distance as fires were lit and tents erected. Despite her mother's caution, Elara's curiosity was piqued. She noticed a young soldier sitting apart from the others, his armor tarnished and a bandage wrapped around his forearm. Compelled by her healer's instinct, she approached him cautiously. "Your wound needs tending," she said softly. As she tended to his wound, they exchanged small talk. Over the next few days, Elara's path often crossed with Gareth's. "Do you believe in the cause you're fighting for?" she asked one evening as they sat by the brook. On the fifth night, chaos erupted. Stark soldiers stormed into the village. Panic ensued as villagers scattered and soldiers scrambled for their weapons. Elara found herself caught between fleeing villagers and clashing soldiers. Flames leaped from a thatched roof nearby, casting eerie shadows across the turmoil. A Stark soldier, eyes wild with adrenaline, charged toward her. Before she could react, Gareth intercepted, parrying the attack. Breaking free, she dashed toward her home, dodging skirmishes and debris. She found Lisa inside, frantically gathering their belongings. They fled into the surrounding woods, the sounds of conflict fading as they ventured deeper. Only when they reached a secluded clearing did they stop to catch their breath. Days turned into weeks as they wandered, joining other displaced villagers along the way. They eventually reached Riverrun, where refugees had gathered in hopes of protection. One evening, as she was cleaning instruments in the infirmary, a familiar figure entered the tent. Gareth stood before her, his arm in a makeshift sling. Over the next few months, they dedicated themselves to aiding those in need, their shared purpose strengthening their bond. Panic and despair spread like wildfire after the news of the Red Wedding. The realization that no sanctuary remained safe forced them to make a difficult decision. During the trek south, their bond grew stronger. Elara witnessed acts of kindness amid the hardships, and Gareth remained by her side, promising to build a new life together. Years passed, and they found peace in the sheltered valleys of the Vale, where they built a home and started a family. Standing at the threshold of her home, Elara reflected on their journey. While the echoes of the past still lingered, she felt hopeful for the future. Hope endures even in the echoes of war.